Ganapataye Namaha. Sanskrit language is one of the ancient language, especially in India. But Sanskrit is to be considered as a language of the universe, because whatever the language in the world, all the words are derived from Sanskrit. If you understand the philology or linguistics, we can understand how Sanskrit attained an exalted place in the language world. Bhasha Prapanch. The ancient language is another one, is Latin, Gothic, and Persia, Arabic, like this, all these things are there. But among them, Sanskrit language attained the highest position because it is so easy to understand, to learn, to everything than other languages. Sanskrit has compatibility, and easily understandable one. Especially in India, we come across there may be so many languages according to the constitution, but Sanskrit is considered the prime language because our Samskriti is hidden in Sanskritam. Samskritihi Samskrite nihitam. Our Samskriti means culture is hidden in Samskrita. Without a Sanskrit word, you cannot utter a single word in any language. For example, brata, brother in English, Hindi, brataha, brother, Gothic, Latin, whatever the language, pita, fither, fitr, like this, whatever the language. At least one word will be there in Sanskrit. Such a Sanskrit gives an accessibility to its learners or readers. He who knows Sanskrit can travel any part of the world, not any part of the country. Why? Because he who knows Sanskrit well with depth, he can understand other languages gradually. Though it makes a little bit time, but Sanskrit is such great. Now, the NASA scientists also accepted Sanskrit is suitable for computers. In forthcoming days, we are going to get a good news from Sanskrit. Because in the world, each and every scientist found Sanskrit must. Therefore, Germany, Hungary, all other countries, Holland, like this, Australia, Austria, Uganda, like this, even downtrodden countries also, they teach Sanskrit from the primary level. But unfortunately, mother of India is Sanskrit, but here it is not given that much importance by the politicians. Political influence, Sanskrit is not brought into blossomed level. It is in budding level itself. We should feel pity on this condition. However, whatever it may be, Sanskrit in coming days will become a monarch. No doubt in this regard. Definitely it will take an exalted, highest, supreme position to teach the world what is a Samskriti of Samskrita, India. So let us hope Sanskrit should come into such a level to dominate the world. So Today I took the topic of Sanskrit, best language for computers. Let us discuss in this topic. ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे. One of those facts is that Sanskrit is the best language for computers programming. It talks about using Sanskrit in natural language processing (NLP). The idea of using a natural language for computer programming is to make it easier for people to talk to computers in their native tongue and spare them the pain of learning a computer friendly language like assembly or C or Java. The Rick Briggs paper makes a case that natural languages are not that difficult to use for computer programming. He cites Sanskrit as an example as its grammar can be easily translated to a form understandable by a computer. But nowhere does it say that using Sanskrit is the best way to program to computer. Say if somebody manages to create a computer language based on Sanskrit, how likely is it that it will get adopted by non-Sanskrit speaking people? There is a lot of difference between Sanskrit being suitable for NLP and it being the best or perfect language for computer programming. For Sanskrit to be truly a best language for computer programming, a majority of computing users should be fluent enough in it. Otherwise, it is much easier for them to learn a computer friendly languages than to learn Sanskrit and then use it for programming a computer. Sanskrit is such a language in which the message can be sent by the computer in the least number of words. American kids were imparted Sanskrit lessons since their childhood. The NASA website also confirms its mission Sanskrit and describes it as the best language for computer. The website clearly mentions that NASA has spent a large sum of time and money on this project during the last 2 decades. The scientists believe that Sanskrit is also helpful in speech therapy besides helping in mathematics and science. It also improves concentration. The alphabet used in the language are scientific and their correct pronunciation improves the tone of speech. It encourages imagination and improves memory retention also. Mishra told the Daily that even the call center employees are improving their voice by reading Sanskrit besides the language being used by news readers, film and theater artists for alternative voice remedy. While there is no backing for this claim, several netizens have believed it and even shared it. There is no concrete information as to how the language can be used for coding or programming. Rick Briggs, a researcher at NASA, wrote a paper in the year 1985 titled Knowledge Representation in Sanskrit and Artificial Intelligence. That was published in A1 magazine. The text from the paper reads, there is at least one language, Sanskrit, which for the duration of almost 1,000 years was a living spoken language with a considerable literature of its own. Besides works of literary value, there was a long philosophical and grammatical traditions that has continued to exist with undiminished vigor until the present century. Among the accomplishments of the grammarians can be reckoned a method for paraphrasing Sanskrit in a manner that is identical not only in essence but in form of current work in artificial intelligence. He further explained the aim of the paper was to demonstrate that a natural language can serve as an artificial language also, and that much work in artificial intelligence has been reinventing a wheel millennia old. It is important to understand that humans and computers understand different languages. Natural languages are the languages understood by human like English, Hindi and even Sanskrit. On the other hand, machine artificial languages or languages include Lisp, R, C, or Prolog. The major goal of A1 that time was to reach a point where computers understand natural languages. Briggs just directed the attention towards Sanskrit as one of the natural languages that have existed for a very long time and have its expense literature. Nowhere does Briggs said that it was the best or the most suitable language for computers. NASA has not approached any such claims doing the grounds on social media. Much of A1 research has happened in Lisp. For example, because of its ability to manipulate words and sentences, but the Lisp is nearly unheard outside. A1 wrote Dilip D'Souza of that scroll. He further emphasized that if Sanskrit had been a suitable language, there would have been a software written in Sanskrit by now. Certainly, the rigorous rulers of Sanskrit grammar have lessons for A1, but writing software is another challenge together. The way computers are built requires a certain clear and unmistakable logic in how we give instructions to them. Nobody has left or yet found a way to do that in any natural language, whether Sanskrit or English, he added. However, Indian politician and economist Subramanya Swamy had blamed the Americans for globalized use of the English language and that claimed that Sanskrit will replace English in 50 years. While the validity of Mr. Swamy's claim will be known in the next 50 years, it can be conclusively said that the claim that Sanskrit is the most suitable or the best language for computer of A1 is false. An anonymous user requested a fact check on our website asking to verify if NASA really claimed that Sanskrit is the best language for artificial intelligence. We conducted an online verification and found that this news is a result of few misinterpreted events, and thus we will break it down. Several netizens on social media especially Twitter, have been spreading this information that Sanskrit is a scientific language and that NASA has backed this up by saying that Sanskrit is the best language for artificial intelligence. Many have also sourced these claims to Ramesh Pokhriyal, the Human Resource Development Minister. We used keywords that were used in these claims to do an online search and found some news outlets publishing the fact checkup of this given by the HRD ministry. These news outlets were written based on a press release given by the Human Resource Development Ministry. According to that statement, Pokhriyal has been quoted out of the context. The minister had said, according to NASA, in the near future, in coming future, if we are talking were to be a reality, then it will be only possible because of Sanskrit. NASA is saying this because Sanskrit is a scientific language in which words are written exactly the way they are spoken. In a speech that he delivered at the IIT Bombay's 57th convocation, this happened in August 2019. And back then he supposedly received backlash on his statements. Following the backlash, the HRD ministry issued a response saying, in some media reports, it is mentioned that the ministry is making reference to the scientific or work of NASA scientist Rick Briggs, who published an article in the American Society of Artificial Intelligence Journal. They also provided access information to the work that he cited. Therefore, Pokhriyal self-referenced an article published by scientists that NASA who published an article in Artificial Intelligence Journal. Thus, it does not mean that NASA itself claimed that Sanskrit is a scientific language that will be used in artificial intelligence based computers. According to HRD ministry, the media has twisted Pokhriyal's words, Rick Briggs, on Sanskrit being suitable for NLP, mean natural language processing. Back in 1985, a researcher named Rick Briggs at National Aeronautics and Space Administration made waves by publishing a paper in AI magazine titled Knowledge Representation in Sanskrit and Artificial Intelligence. In this paper, Rick stated that the programmer of the scientist Indian languages are Sanskrit, structural and rule based as its users had significant lessons for the business of natural language understanding. Briggs suggested that studying the way ancient Indian grammarians worked might help artificial intelligence researchers finally solve the natural language understanding. An expert from the paper reads as, there is at least one language, Sanskrit, which for the duration of almost 1,000 years was a living spoken language with a considerable literature of its own. Besides works of literary value, there was a long philosophical and grammatical tradition. that has continued to exist with undiminished vigor until the present century. Among the accomplishments of the grammarians can be reckoned a method for paraphrasing Sanskrit in a manner that is identical not only in essence but in the form of with current work in artificial intelligence. Because, for example, if you take English, there it is called subject, verb, object. In any regional language you take, subject, object, verb will be in the last. But you can take a Sanskrit, however you can write. Verb is object, subject, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object, subject. However you write, meaning will be same. Such a flexibility we can see in Sanskrit language, whereas there is no other languages. Because except Sanskrit, no other language possesses dual. For example, Rama, Rama, two Ramas, Rama, how many Ramas? This is two Ramas is called dual, Dvivachan. No language possesses only singular, plural enough. Because of dual influence, Sanskrit will become suitable for computers. No doubt in this regard, I feel. Even this article demonstrates that a natural language can serve as artificial language also, and that much work in artificial intelligence has been reinventing a wheel millennium world. Bhautik Kapadia Artificial Intelligence NASA. Recently, we got many messages and views about the connection between NASA, artificial intelligence, and Sanskrit. As we all know, artificial intelligence is the future of technological world. If you search in Google, then you can get many articles and videos regarding this topic. All of them are claiming that Sanskrit is the best language for artificial intelligence development. So, let us break down the topic as from the computer science. What is Sanskrit? Sanskrit is an ancient language from India. It is ancient Hindu language. Sanskrit played an important role in many intellectual communities. Structure of the Sanskrit makes it suitable for artificial intelligence. Sanskrit is vital to Indian culture because of its extensiveness. Used in religious literature, primarily in Hinduism. And because most modern Indian languages have been directly derived from strongly influenced by Sanskrit. It is the greatest treasure given to the world by ancient India. Sanskrit is universally recognized as the language containing the earliest literature in the world. This language holds much knowledge about society and the universe. It has a range of words to express to single object. It is incredibly easy to learn. It is a matter of all languages. Sanskrit is also a language of the future science studies have found that it is a language most suited for the computers. It is said that the language holds great importance in modern era. NASA has shown a lot of interest in Sanskrit for artificial intelligence for space communication. From the long time back, it is found that it will be much more suitable to use the Sanskrit language as it follows a strict manner with grammar rules. The syntax for Sanskrit is ordered the words a Sanskrit sentence a meaning. Origin of NASA claims on artificial intelligence and Sanskrit. Yeah, this story began in 1985. The NASA scientists published a research paper titled as Vedic Science, What Knowledge Representation in Sanskrit and the Artificial Intelligence. Rick Briggs was a scientist who published this official research paper. So, Sanskrit is considerable the best language for artificial intelligence. Rick Briggs and Vedic Science. According to the views of Rick Briggs, the paper, he mentioned how Sanskrit is the best natural language for the development of artificial intelligence based software. He represented his ideas and derived the outcome of artificial intelligence development and how the natural language can be encoded into a logical programming language. The papers were detached. Now, natural language from computers. NASA had invested a lot of money to find the best natural language for artificial intelligence. NASA investigated about 2 decades with many resources for this matter. If Sanskrit can be used as a computing language, then your efficiency will be increased. When efficiency increases, automatically that language persuasion will also be increased. Almost all the European countries such as Finland, Austria, Belgium and many others had one or more institutes belonging to various acclaimed universities which we are a number of students. Sanskrit is a simple language. Panini said, the Sanskrit scholar worked his entire life on Sanskrit, and Rick saw his work which led him to realize that the structure of Sanskrit is the best for artificial intelligence development. Sanskrit grammar is a context-free grammar. The regular structure of Sanskrit can be easily translated into assembly language or can easily run transformation. Finally, like reflecting arts same. Opposing arguments on Sanskrit as the best language for artificial intelligence. Opposing arguments on Sanskrit as the best language for the as the best language for the computers. There is no doubt someone who says Sanskrit is suitable. It is having capability, but when it comes to converting natural language for artificial intelligence, technology arguments are arisen. The argument is some type of Sanskrit is capable of the one whose software should have been written by now. Many scientists believe that Sanskrit can offer many useful techniques for computing, who are all immersed in language Sanskrit. This type of connection is backed by many claims and an enormous amount of research. Although there is no official announcement by NASA, NASA is still working on. NASA explores artificial intelligence for space communication. So, NASA has a department dedicated to Sanskrit. Thus, we come to conclude Sanskrit definitely suitable language for computers. Let us hope in future. Shri Kantaya Kalyana Nide Nide Dhanam Shri Venkatavasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasaya Navaya Madacharya Progme Sarvesha Purvairacharya Satkritaya Astu Mangalam.